What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So you saw the title. These are okay. Nothing I highly recommend you check out. This is some stuff that I've picked up this year that just kind of okay. Not necessarily new releases and all that. A couple of them are new releases, but it's just stuff in general that I randomly bought throughout the year where kind of a little underwhelmed. Like, they're okay fragrances, they're wearable, I like them, but that's about as far as it goes. So maybe this is, I guess, technically stuff I wouldn't recommend you necessarily rush out and buy. Again, it's just my taste and just my opinion, but let's dive into them. Stay tuned. Now, if you've had the original, which, if you've been around the online fragrance community for several years at this point, there was a time when it was a cheapy hype beast many years ago. The original, we're talking about Rochas Man, but here we're talking Rochas Man Intense. Now look, it does smell nice. I've worn it close to a handful of times. It's not that much different than the original. Do I think it's so much more intense or so much better performing? Not really. If anything, it adds a slight bit more darkness than just a sweet, creamy coffee type of smell that you get from the original. I do actually think the original's a little bit better as far as the scent profile. Again, it smells good. Like I said, I've worn it a handful or so of times. It's just not so important, so special, or even really different enough to warrant getting if you have Rochas Man. Now look, if you don't have Rochas Man, I guess sure, go with this one. It doesn't necessarily last longer. I don't recall noticing it lasting any longer, projecting any heavier. It's a slightly richer smell, like there's a little bit more thickness to it, but again, nothing crazy. Still that sweet coffee creamer, cappuccino kind of thing going. You get a hint, you don't get as much spice here, but I feel like you get a little bit more earthiness to it. Again, not a bad thing, not a good thing. It's just an okay thing. This Rochas Man Intense. Now, this is one of those rare occasions I picked up a Mancera, because I blind buy just about every Mancera I have. And it smells like, cough syrup, not in a good way. It's Mancera's Wild Cherry. One of those rare occasions, because it does happen, where I'll smell a cherry fragrance I don't care for. Like Tom Ford's Lost Cherry, just don't really care for it. I find it's a little too feminine for my taste. This just straight up smells medicinal, like literal cough syrup. It smells like a cherry throat lozenge for sore throat. Or Robitussin, basically. And it doesn't really get much better when it dries down. It's a bad cherry fragrance. I don't think it stinks, but I don't know who would want to smell like cough syrup. I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what else to say other than this is one I definitely would not recommend. Try before you buy. Maybe, I'm sure there's some people out there that like it, but if you've tried a bunch of different cherry fragrances, I can't imagine this ranking any higher than the worst cherry fragrance you've ever smelled. At least that's my experience. I just kind of have it. We'll have it for points of reference for videos like this in the future. I'll probably give it another shot at some point, see if maybe it changed my tune, but I doubt it. Giving it 2 chances so far. Bad experiences both times. It does happen. Even with Mancera, I would suggest going a different route with Wild Cherry. Now, when I tried Blue Talisman, because it's hype monster and a half at the beginning of this year, it's okay, it's pretty good. 8 out of 10 kind of stuff. I had a decant my buddy, the Nigerian giant Omas, had sent my way. And I was like, okay, I like it, but it doesn't compel me to the point where I feel like I need to spend 200 plus and get a bottle. I just don't feel like I have to have it. Maybe somebody will clone it later and I'll get something that's good enough. Almost Blue Talisman. And it'll be good enough. And then Fragrance World Taj 2 came around. I was like, oh, there's a chance. I would say 7 out of every 10 times. Fragrance World does a really good job. They have a couple misses here and there. We got another one that I think is a miss. That people, I might be one of the only content creators on YouTube that has negative things to say about. We'll get to that one in a few fragrances. But with this one, it's a little soured, the way the citrus comes across up top. And you have the woody facet, a little bit of green. It's a vetiver-y, woody type of smell. And, it did grow on me. I started wearing it in succession. Several days in a row, several evenings out of the shower, wore it to the gym. I gave it a solid week and a half of wearing it pretty often, like most days. And it did get better because my initial impression of this was like a 5.5 out of 10. Just average, just okay. Not bad, but not good either, you know? And it's grown to like a 6.5. It's okay. It's better than good. It's better than just a basic average fragrance. But even then, I just don't think it's special. It's like 40 some odd bucks. Now, look, I understand Blue Talisman's far more expensive than this, but I'm sure somebody out there by now, Alexandria, Dua, somebody has made a better version of this. I think Fragrance World kind of missed the mark a little bit. So, of course, it's just my opinion. It did get better over time. I've had somebody ask me if I let it sit and macerate a little while, do I think it'll get better? I don't think having it sit makes it smell closer to the original. You know, it might make it perform a little stronger as it macerates, but as far as like changing the smell to the point of, oh my God, that is spot on Blue Talisman. No, because it's sat for a little while. I've had it for a little while now, and it hasn't gotten so much better, but it's a solid fragrance nonetheless. You know, not great, not bad, just it's okay. Fragrance World Taj 2. Now, the new one came out, Scandal Absolute, and I was like, I still haven't gotten around to buying the first two. So I bought all three at the same time. And hands down, the original Jean Paul Gaultier Scandal is the worst of the bunch, and it's not a bad fragrance. Caramel sweet, typical generic sweet designer, but it lacks character. There's just something missing to it. That I think the thing that's missing here, they found in the Le Parfum, and then they really built upon with the Absolute, because the Le Parfum, far superior to this. The Absolute, different universe, blows it out the water. Honeyed sweet, a little bit of florals, woods, all that. The Absolute, Scandal Absolute is the way to go. But I understand why people love the Le Parfum. It's a much deeper, denser fragrance. It's got more character. It's a deep, like I said, deeper fragrance overall. Again, this is solid. This is okay. This smells like something I would recommend a teenager to give a shot, because I'm sure the younger ladies would love something, you know, generically sweet, typical designer kind of stuff like this. So again, not a bad fragrance. Just both of the flankers that are currently available to it are superior in every way. Scent, performance, depth, nuance. You name it, Scandal Le Parfum and Scandal Absolute are just that much better than Jean Paul Gaultier's Scandal. Now here's the one I took some flack when I did my full review, but I stand by my statement, Azure Oud from Fragrance World, the French Avenue line. It is okay, especially when you let it dry down, but this synthetic oud accord they have with the tropical fruits gives this almost rotten fruit-like smell for a little while. And I had several people argue with me because they enjoy it, and it's fine. It's just my opinion, just like it's just their opinion. I ain't mad at them for it. It's all good. I hope nobody's mad at me for my opinion. That's wild, you know? But it is what it is. I've had the pleasure of smelling Oud Maracuja prior to this, so I was really excited to get this one. I was like, oh, if it gets pretty close, I'll be in good shape. I don't need one-to-one. I don't need exact, but get me close. And look, in the dry down, it does get closer. But the opening is just not good enough. And Oud Maracuja is not crazy expensive, so it's one of those fragrances where I would deem, if you want the experience of Maison Crivelli's Oud Maracuja, save your money and get that. Because if you smell that first, then you smell this, I truly believe that you're just convincing yourself it's good enough, because I don't think it comes close to holding a candle to the original. I do think it is that much better. Now, is there another version out there that somebody else made? I don't know. I love the bottle. The bottle is amazing. The bottle's cool as shit. It's the best looking color of the ones in it, because blue's my favorite color. I love the bottle. I'm just okay with the fragrance. Like, it's okay. Actually, I think I put it in the very good territory, like 7 out of 10. It's not a bad fragrance. The opening, I just think, could have been much, much better than it is, because it dries down lovely. It dries down much closer to Oud Maracuja. So again, I don't know if I'm the only one, because like literally this morning, shout out to my guy Kuba, Angel Kuba. No, I literally on Instagram saw his thumbnail for today's video. They had me in tears or something like that. This is in the thumbnail. I'm like, okay, so he likes it. No shade. I love Angel. That's my guy. I haven't heard his opinion, but based on the thumbnail and the title of the video, I'm going to say he likes this a lot. And look, for me, I like it, don't love it. The opening could have been better. The dry down is where the magic is. For me, I got to get through about 20 to 30 minutes of a rotten fruit smell, is what it smells like to me. So, it's good. It's just not great. Azure Oud. A boring coffee fragrance. I couldn't believe how bland this is. I love Carolina Herrera. I bought a lot of Carolina Herrera fragrances this year. And 212 VIP Black, I love New York. lavender, vetiver, cardamom, coffee. You're like, oh, this has a shot. Eh. I do think the quality's better than something like a Halloween Man X. I do think overall the scent quality is better, but even Halloween Man X is a deeper fragrance than this. This is basically lavender and coffee, a little bit of vetiver. I don't really get much of the cardamom. I don't get much sweetness. Just basic. It's a bland coffee fragrance to me, and that's kind of depressing because I really like every other flanker I've tried in the line. I literally have 4 other flankers in the 212 VIP line, and all of them are superior to this. Like far and wide, this is my least favorite. And I like the bottle. The bottle's hefty, magnetic cap. Again, the quality's decent, especially when you compare it to what it smells closest to in Jesus del Pozo Halloween Man X. But and look, I don't care for the opening to Halloween Man X. It's super cheap synthetic smell. But when you let it dry and get into the coffee and the sweetness and all, it's a pretty damn good fragrance. Performs good. Like, it's got more depth and nuance than something like this, which still surprises me. It's basic. I'll probably never wear it, but I do have it. 212 VIP Black. I love New York. This is a 2024 release. I'm still trying to have it grow on me. K Eau de Parfum Intense. Super, super dark bottle. I prefer the EDT and the Eau de Parfum to this. The way this, like the leather and the fig give this earthy herbal kind of tone. It's a little on the bitter side. Like, it's interesting. It is an interesting fragrance, but I don't necessarily think that means it's a good fragrance. Interesting isn't always good. A lot of times interesting can be a great thing, but here it's just kind of, like, I feel like there's more that could have been done to this one to make it a better fragrance. It does dry into the EDP's DNA a bit more. I think intense is an interesting way to name this because it does dry into the EDP and it is a much more intense smell. Just not necessarily a great way to do it. Again, I think the use of fig could have been better here and or the use of leather, but together what they used, I don't know. I'm not feeling it the way I hoped I would. Again, it's not a bad fragrance. It's for being Dolce & Gabbana, they tried something here and I'm proud of them for it. They didn't just toe a line with a trend on this fragrance. They stepped outside the comfort zone a little bit, I think, with this and tried something. I don't think it landed, though, personally. I know there's going to be fans of it. Somebody watching this right now, but bro, you're crazy. I love it. It's one of my favorite releases of the year. I'm thrilled for you. I'm not feeling it. To me, it's kind of almost in that middle tier. Like, I'm undecided because in about a week or so, I'm going to start doing my annual videos of 10 worst designer releases. A middle tier this year because there's been so many good ones. Top 10 best release. This is definitely not in that. I'm still very torn on does it fall into worst, because worst doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad fragrance. It's just compared to all the other good stuff. Something's got to fall into that category. So this might fall into that for me. So just okay. Not a special pickup. Not a regretful pickup. I need to have these experiences, but it's just kind of, it's meh. It's okay. K EDP Intense. Now this is one of the better smelling that I compiled in this video. Even have a little half a spritz on my hand. It's just, when I looked and evaluated the Mont Blanc Legend line as a whole that I have, it's the worst one. Legend Red. And again, it's not bad. It's probably the best smelling fragrance of the collection of 10 here. And it's got a zesty, spiced orange, woody smell. A little bit of the Legend Fierce DNA, but not so much. Like, I wouldn't take this over Legend EDT, EDP, Legend, the discontinued Awesome Legend Intense. I wouldn't take it over Legend Night. I wouldn't take it over Legend Spirit. I wouldn't take it over Legend Blue. This year's release, that's fantastic. It's like Minty Percival. That's amazing. It's the worst one I have, and it's not a bad fragrance. That's a good thing that the worst one's still a good fragrance. Like, I still would rank this in that 7 out of 10 range of very good. It's still a very good fragrance. It just kind of falls short on what I would hope it would be. Red bottle, zesty orange, stuff like that. Stuff that's been done before, but I don't feel like they did it as well as other brands with the red bottle and the zesty blood orange and stuff like that. So, again, it smells good. It smells good. I will wear it. Like I said, I even sprayed this one on hand out of everything. This is the one I sprayed on skin before press and record. Just try before you buy. You know, if you have an expectation of a strong Legend presence here, it's minimal. It's Mont Blanc Legend Red. Now, I wanted to get the newest Intense, and I didn't have the others. It's the same thing with Jean Paul Gaultier Scandal, so I bought all three. And instead of getting just regular Phantom, I got the Legion bottle because it was cheaper to get the camo Legion bottle. But it is just Paco Rabanne Phantom EDT with a special edition bottle. It's not a different fragrance. The Parfum and the Intense are far superior to this. This is another okay. It's solid. I'm not saying it's bad. Just like with this, again, not solid. It feels incomplete, just like Scandal. And they improved upon it with the Parfum and the Intense. The Intense, I think, far and wide is my favorite, the newest release. But this one, it's got that oddball, sweet, woody smell. Again, it's kind of what you expect from Paco Rabanne. It's a good, not great kind of fragrance. When usually they'll sprinkle in some great in these lines. 1 million's loaded with it. 1 million lines loaded with great flankers. The Invictus line, I think they're all great flankers too, honestly. Here, the flankers are better. The original's okay. It's good. It's very, very good, actually. I think it's a very good fragrance. I just think both flankers are great to bordering outstanding when you compare them. So that's all it is. These were just an okay pickup. That's what this video is about. This is just an okay pickup. Nothing special here. I would encourage checking out both the Parfum or the Intense over this one, especially the Parfum. The Parfum really builds upon this one. The Intense is a little bit different. It's a little bit fresher, believe it or not. But the Parfum definitely builds upon this and makes it even better. It's Paco Rabanne's Phantom. And last but not least, a tropical by the beach coconutty type of fragrance that has a pungent, over-the-top, somewhat challenging opening. This was not expected. We literally talked about it in my live stream yesterday. That's what made me think to do this topic. So shout outs to Ryan for the idea. Francesca Bianchi, Sex and the Sea. It takes about an hour. Then it gets really good. It's really good when it dries. It opens up, it becomes a brighter, more beachy fragrance. It's really pungent and almost like super weird, earthy, a little funked even on my skin. There it is. In the opening, it's weird. The opening's weird. I was very, I couldn't understand what was going on the first time I sprayed. I was like, why is this what it smells like? It's not what I thought it was going to be. Beautiful note breakdown, and look, beautiful dry down. And not even just the dry down. When you get into the heart, it's the opening that just has this weird pungent smell that I just can't get down with. That's what makes me not want to wear it. I haven't worn it since. I gave it 2 chances, 2 different sprays. It's not easy to want to just spray around my neck and go on about my day and let it develop. It's not easy to go into that. I still haven't done that because I just can't get down with the opening the 2 times I tried with just test sprays. The opening's got to invite you in. If it's not inviting, how are you going to want to go back to it? It doesn't matter how good the dry down is, because if you feel like you got to suffer through the beginning of the fragrance, is the dry down even worth it at that point if you have to suffer to get to the good part? I don't know. Fragrance is supposed to be a happy, joyous thing for me, and I'm not happy and joyous in the opening here, and it's disappointing because I had really high expectations and hopes for this fragrance. It's very pricey for a 30 ml, The quality here is fantastic, especially once it, gets deeper into the fragrance. But, man, early stages in this, if you value my opinion at all, please sample, don't blind buy like I did with Francesca Bianchi, Sex in the Sea. Well, that's 10 fragrances that were just, okay. Some of them a little better than okay. Very good fragrances. Just, I gave you my reasoning on why they just kind of fall short for me. Some of it may be a little controversial because some of these are going to be fragrances that people absolutely adore. It's just my opinion. I'm not knocking you for liking it, as I would hope you don't knock me for not liking it. And it's not necessarily a not liking it thing. There's several of these that, I gravitate towards. This is just, when you compare it to everything else, it's just that's the worst one. So it's just an okay pickup for me this year. Make sense? Make sure to like, comment, subscribe before you leave. Thank you guys for checking out the video. Catch you on the next one.